Boris Johnson has proposed a radical package of measures for the Northern Ireland border to replace the so-called backstop that has been the key obstacle to a Brexit deal. Northern Ireland would leave the EU's customs union along with the rest of the UK but remain signed up to the bloc's single market rules indefinitely. The arrangements would come into force at the end of the Brexit transition period on the 31st of December, 2020, if a deal can be agreed between the UK and Brussels. The Prime Minister has put forward a plan in an attempt to ensure his proposed Brexit deal complies with the Belfast, Good Friday Agreement that ended the so-called Troubles in Northern Ireland. The agreement rules out physical checks at the province's border with the Irish Republic. He believes his proposals will mean the backstop, an insurance policy which could keep the entire UK tied to EU single market rules, can be ripped out of the withdrawal agreement brokered by Theresa May yet rejected 3 times by Parliament. Here are the 5 key areas of the plan. NI will stay in the EU single market indefinitely to avoid a hard border with the Irish Republic, doing away with any need for regulatory checks. Northern Ireland will remain signed up to single market regulations devised by Brussels and enforced by EU courts. The province will be part of a single regulatory zone covering the entire island of Ireland. Any agricultural food products entering Northern Ireland from Great Britain would have to pass through a border inspection post or officially designated port. They would be subject to checks by UK border officials in compliance with EU rules. Imports of manufactured goods to NI would also be subject to EU rules. Traders moving goods from Great Britain to NI will have to notify border officials before the transfers take place. The government will protect Northern Ireland's position in the UK's internal market and guarantee Northern Irish businesses and farmers have unfettered access to the rest of the UK market. By remaining in the EU's single market, NI will be governed by EU laws devised by Brussels without having any say over their formulation. Officials recognise this represents a significant democratic problem. To ensure that situation is sustainable, officials believe the arrangements must have the endorsement of NI voters. The province must be free to leave the arrangements if the voters no longer support them. The government is proposing an opportunity for democratic consent every 4 years through a vote in the Northern Ireland Assembly at Stormont. The first vote would take place next year, before the end of the Brexit transition period on the 31st of December, 2020. If the Assembly votes against, the arrangements will not come into effect and a hard border with the Irish Republic would almost certainly have to be established. UK government officials say it is fundamental to the Brexit deal that the entire country, including NI, leaves the EU customs union at the end of the transition period. This means the divide between NI and the Irish Republic will be a customs border after Brexit. However, they insist customs checks and controls will not have to be carried out at the border or even nearby. Instead, traders will be able to declare movements of goods between NI and the Irish Republic to customs officers before or when the transfers are made. Officers would be able to make checks on imports and exports at any point in their journey. UK and Irish customs officers would be expected to work together to stamp out smuggling. Physical checks would only be required on a very small proportion of movements based on risk assessment. Such checks could take place at the trader's premises or another location in either of the 2 territories. Under the plan, the EU and the UK will continue to apply their own laws affecting value-added tax and excise duty. The government is proposing that any VAT or excise duty payments resulting from goods moving between Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic are not collected at the border. The UK and EU should cooperate to minimise evasion of VAT and duty in the country where it is due. The government is offering to support NI through the Brexit transition with a huge injection of cash from UK taxpayers. The money will be used to boost economic growth in NI and increase competitiveness.